Welcome to Yankee Chronicle. Our show this week is presented by Old Hampshire Designs, where they remind you a reputable builder is the most important decision you make when you decide to build your dream home. Today, we'll meet Amanda Raymond, the owner of Studio Sage, a specialist in interior design and a collaborator with Old Hampshire. Neil Nevis, Andy Jeffery, and Meg Whitmore will introduce us to Feed Kearsarge, an initiative of the Kearsarge Neighborhood Partners. Skip Haas will take on Christina Baudis, the new Colby-Sawyer swim coach, in his annual challenging swim across Sunapee to the town beach. And we'll close with Samantha Hagan of Floorcraft, another Old Hampshire Design partner in creating beautiful homes. But first, a few words from one of the good businesses that make it possible for us to bring you YCN, your local view, and your Yankee Chronicle. Please stay with us.
The American Red Cross blood supply is at historically low levels this winter, and we're facing a dangerous situation. Hospitals and patients are counting on donors to get the blood they need. Make a life-saving appointment today. Visit redcrossblood.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS.
This program is supported by Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire since 1997, with roots going back much further as the Country Press, AccuMail, and the home of the Kearsarge shopper. Echo Communications.
Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel, coming to you from Blue Loom Bakery in New London, hosted by Old Hampshire Designs right across the street. And I'm now joined by Amanda Raymond, who's the owner and principal designer at Studio Sage in the cute little building right next door. Hello, Amanda.
Hi, Abby.
It is the cutest building that you have your office in.
The cutest building.
The cutest building, and right next to Blue Loom. I mean, what could honestly go wrong?
Oh,
you could eat a lot, I guess.
It's the cutest building. It's packed full of stuff, so it remains the cutest building as long as you don't poke your head in.
Okay, good to know. Okay, good to know that it is a working space.
It is a working space.
Tell everybody about Studio Sage, and especially how it got its name too, because people will remember Sage's interiors.
Yeah. So it was about 6 years ago, actually in this August, that we bought an established business, Sage's Interiors, and we went through a little rebrand, and we rebranded to Studio Sage.
Love it.
So we're about to start our 6th year now, believe it or not, which has gone so fast. And so that's sort of the history there, and it's just been pretty wild ever since we started.
And very busy for you.
Super busy.
Talk about some of your design techniques and clientele and things you enjoy doing, maybe some things you don't enjoy doing, but you do a wide variety.
We do. And I would say probably as the years have gone on, we've started to do more holistic interior design projects and starting early on in the construction. So it's sort of interesting. What I do is I talk about the spaces in two different ways, hard goods and soft goods, and the best way I know to describe that is if you take the house, turn it upside down and shake it, the stuff that doesn't fall out.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't know that we actually do the tile. We work with the architect and the builders to come up with a unique trim package. What do the interior doors look like? What sort of hardwired light fixtures are we using? So really, the interior design portion that people think in the traditional sense, window treatments and furnishing, that's such a small portion of what we do, and that's actually more towards the end. So it's kind of a marathon and not a sprint. So any given project that we're working on is anywhere from 18 months to 3 years and then beyond, depending on the scale of the project.
Okay, and you've had some fantastic features in some pretty cool magazines too. Yes, talk about that.
We've been super lucky. So we've been featured multiple times in New Hampshire Home. We get a lot of love from those guys. Super nice folks there. They recently did a feature on me specifically, talking about one to watch. So what they're doing is highlighting some of the younger, new emerging talents.
Ooh.
I know.
Congratulations on that.
We were featured in Architectural Digest, so that was a couple of years ago, talking about designers that are leading the industry in New Hampshire. So they do a section in New Hampshire every year, and so we were included in that, which was really fun, and quite a few features with Old Hampshire Designs,
Love
who
it.
we were talking about
Yes.
here. So Yeah, it's been really great. It's been a wild ride. It's definitely, some days feels like it's been 6 years and some days it feels like 12. And
I'm sure. That's a busy schedule. Talk
is.
about your partnerships, because you can't do this just by yourself, obviously, but then also with, you need somebody who knows how to build the house and then someone who knows how to maybe create the fabric. So there's so many partnerships that go into this.
There are so many partnerships and go into this, and including our team in-house. So we've got a team, so there's me, and then we've got a senior designer, we have an associate designer, we have an office manager, we have an art curator. So that's sort of our team in-house, and then we sort of branch out to the architectural teams, the construction teams, any of the vendors, lighting specialists. I mean, there's just such a huge roster of people that go into one home. And one of the things in particular that I love about working with a lot of the folks in the partnerships that we have here is I kind of look at it as all boats rise with the tide. So it doesn't take much to know that when one of us looks good, we all look good. Yes. And then the other end of that is one of us looks bad, we all look bad. So we love sort of aligning ourselves with people like Jay from Old Hampshire and some of the other vendors around the area, because to have the customer first mentality and having your eye on sort of making something unique and timeless and really special, it takes a village to do that, and everybody's got to be kind of set for the common goal. So
I think it would
we're really fortunate.
Yeah, I would think it would take you a long time to just one hammer and nail to build a house and then do all the parts to it. So a partnership sounds quite crucial in this industry.
I'm pretty talented, but building is definitely not one.
It might be the 12-year thing you were talking about.
Yeah, that's a 12-year thing.
If people want to learn more about you, about Studio Sage, about your partnerships with other people, how can they find more information?
So the best way to reach us and learn more about us is from our website. So we have some of our work up there that you can check out on our portfolio. There's also a contact us form. So that's usually the best way to get a hold of us these days. We're usually out and about hitting up the job sites and things of the like. So best way to reach us is via email, and you can do that right through the website prompt.
And maybe getting a coffee and a muffin at Blue Loon.
I mean, you can always catch me here.
Just give you the 5-minute break and then you can talk. Yeah. Understandable. Yeah. Amanda Raymond, great to talk to you, and thanks so much for your partnership. Coming up next, we'll meet a team from Feed Kearsarge, an initiative of the Kearsarge Neighborhood Partners. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages.
When you take your car in for an oil change, a good mechanic will also take care of other routine maintenance to make sure your car runs safely and efficiently. Protecting your health isn't much different. When you get a COVID-19 vaccine, it's important to make sure you're also protected from other serious but preventable diseases. It's easy and convenient to get other routine vaccines at the same time as a COVID-19 vaccine. So make sure you ask a healthcare professional about other vaccines you may need to maintain your health.
This program is supported by Main Street Bookends of Warner for books, toys, games, cards, gifts, and a gallery of local art. Main Street Bookends of Warner.
Welcome back to your Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel. Give them a fish and they eat a meal. Teach them to fish and they eat forever. Let's head down to Main Street Warner and hear more about that philosophy.
Thank you, Abby, and welcome to the Jim Mitchell Community Park. Main Street Warner's wonderful stage and amphitheater. But this morning, we're at the Children's Park, the last part of the park to be developed. And the plan is to create a more edible landscape on this side of the park, growing food, vegetables, nuts, fruits, berries. And later on, we're going to be introducing a lot of interactive elements for children. We're fortunate to have Andy Jeffery here, as well as Meg Whitmore, with Feed Kearsarge and Kearsarge Neighborhood Partners. So, Andy, could you tell us about these two wonderful organizations and the effort not only here in the park, but throughout the Kearsarge region?
Thank you, Neil. Feed Kearsarge began in 2020, and it stands for Food, Education, Expansion, and Distribution. And it's a cooperation between a number of organizations, including the Kearsarge Food Hub, Kearsarge Neighborhood Partners, Spring Ledge Farm, Colby-Sawyer College, Main Street Warner. And we've been focused on, since the beginning of the pandemic, what can these organizations do to help people become secure with their food. And one of the programs we began with was Tray It Forward. And Tray It Forward was designed to grow vegetable seedlings and to distribute them to people with food insecurities throughout our region. And in 2020, we thought that was a great idea, but we learned at the end of 2020 that just giving people vegetable seedlings doesn't inherently make them a farmer or a gardener. And so in 2021, we began the Victory Garden program and established Victory Gardens here in Warner and in Bradford and at Colby-Sawyer College, where people are free to come and learn how to transform their vegetable seedlings into edible foods. And the reason behind all of this isn't just about food. It really, I'd say, even has more to do with community, because the whole label of Victory Gardens was something we borrowed from the World War II effort, that during the war, people were encouraged to grow their own gardens to take some pressure off the food supply chains. And it really turned out to be an amazing community building opportunity. And that's where KNP, Kearsarge Neighborhood Partners, comes in. We looked at the opportunity to add another Victory Garden, and we found folks to cut up these boards, this nice hemlock, and installed the garden. And then we got the tray from the Tray It Forward program. And from there, Neil, somebody planted it, and it's turned into this wonderful thing. Why don't you tell us about that?
Thanks, Andy. This coincides with opening up this part of the Jim Mitchell Community Park in 2020 in the midst of the pandemic, and responding to that crisis by Main Street Warner starting their Farms and Food Project.
And one of our first stops was across the street at Meg Whitmore's home, and we delivered plants, and she planted them, and they grew amazingly, and she's given us feedback, and we've shifted into a container garden format because of her feedback. But I want to introduce Meg Whitmore. She's one of the stars of the Tray It Forward program.
I don't know quite how to react to that. It's true. 2020, Dorothy and Andy came to my home with a small packet of seedlings. I had, over the years, collected all kinds of containers. I've lived in mostly small rental properties, so I didn't have an in-ground garden to dive into. So it was not just the seedlings. It was the information that they also shared, that Spring Ledge Farm and KNP and Feed Kearsarge came together, printed information that gave me the guidance to understand what each plant needed in a container rather than the ground, in terms of what kind of soil, what kind of root growth they needed, what kind of space, what kind of feeding, etc. So I had all of these containers, some of which were my storage containers I just drilled holes into, and garbage cans and things I found at the dump. I figured as long as it's clean, as long as it's up off the ground, because I basically, as you'll see, my garden sits on gravel, which is on top of a propane tank that services the restaurant next door. But what I found was, if I paid attention, if I educated myself, if I read the materials, if I chatted with people, I could grow a garden that would produce food for my table. So my background here was, I was a client of the Warner Food Pantry. And I found myself in financial difficulties and welcomed the support that they had. And through that connection, I met all of these marvelous people who were addressing what I felt was a community inspiring effort to help us, those of us with financial challenges, to take a bit more responsibility for our own food production. And what it's turned into, I think this must be the fourth year I've done it. First couple of years were, I was learning. This year, it's just an abundance that I honestly can't even describe. I mean, my squash plants are inhabiting rock crevices, and the tomatoes are growing into trees, and you know, it's just an extraordinary abundance this year. But what I have found is that in my growing and my sharing of information with fellow clients at the pantry or just with my neighbors, the whole theme of community developing opportunities is taking hold. It's taking root, literally. And I remember growing up with this sort of kitchen garden, is what we used to call it, and sharing the bounty, which I've already started to do. And I can't say enough about these programs. I mean, we are so fortunate to live in this community with the kind of organizations that support all of us who believe in community building efforts. And this is one that's just so much fun to watch things grow from tiny, tiny little plants. I love it.
You can find out more information about these wonderful community-based organizations at their websites. And again, we're grateful for these organizations and the opportunity to collaborate with Main Street Warner and help to feed the community. Because of these wonderful organizations, the work of Main Street Warner, this is another reason why we always say there's something wonderful happening in Warner.
Thank you to Main Street Warner and to the Kearsarge Neighborhood Partners for your efforts to feed everyone. Every year, Skip Haas challenges the Colby-Sawyer swim coach to swim across Lake Sunapee to the beach. It's up here next on Yankee Chronicle, so stay tuned.
We are strong and we'll get through this together. But these are stressful times. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, and know that you are not alone. Visit wearebroadcasters.com/hope, furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Can I go to the sleepover?
I want you to promise me something. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
This program is supported by H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Their full-service model offers oil delivery, propane, motor fuels with design, installation, service, and maintenance of all types of oil, gas, and alternative energy systems, as well as air conditioning, water conditioning systems, and their highly trained and friendly staff will assist you throughout the process of buying, installing, and servicing a full line of energy products. H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating.
Welcome back to your Yankee Chronicle, this week being presented by Old Hampshire Designs, building award-winning homes since 1984. I'm Abby Peel, your host. The annual swim challenge by Skip Haas took place on August 14th. Let's get a wrap-up of this year's event.
Well, I have a new competitor, Christina, the coach, and when she started, I said, well, I'll have to go over and talk to her. And
we're Division III college, so it's a little bit more about having a balance between your athletics and academics. So by all means, academics is really important.
Add her to the string of my annual swims.
My motto is happy swimmers equals fast swimmers.
Captain Al Peterson, a music teacher, former Sunapee, and a sailor, and a bugler, and geez, I don't know what else. And I'm a show-off. I need attention. No, it's just I keep in shape swimming, and then I just decided to to do the swim over there because I know I can swim that far, and then the 9 years ago, there was a couple in the bar and at the Anchorage, and she was a swimmer, and I said, well, let's swim. Can we do it? Yep. And so we swam across. That was the beginning of it all. And then each year I've challenged neighbors and really good swimmers, and it's just fun.
So when Skip approached me, he called me a couple times, and then he came to my office. I was like, cool, let's do it. The only thing I was disappointed is that we didn't really have a lot of time to like build this up, but I feel like if this works today, then we can make this something even bigger for next year. Maybe some fundraising for college and even for the lake.
Yeah, well, we just decided that Christina and myself will go side by side this year. No race where I get a head start. She tries to catch me. We'll just kind of go side by side. It's a half a mile, but I want to see her, do the butterfly and the backstroke and the breaststroke too. Because I don't do those. I just freestyle.
Thank you, Skip and Christina. What fun. When we return, I'll be joined by Samantha Hagan from Floorcraft to hear about their work bringing the beauty of floors to your home. By buying local is your way to secure these wonderful lifestyles in our communities by keeping our dollars where you can support local businesses, events, and youth activities that define us. Stay with us here on Yankee Chronicle on YCN, your local view.
We are strong and we'll get through this together, but these are stressful times. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, and know that you are not alone. Visit wearebroadcasters.com/hope, furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
This program is supported by the Innertown Record, your weekly hometown community newspaper covering the Kearsarge Sunapee Sunshine region of New Hampshire. The Innertown Record.
Welcome back to Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel, coming to you from Blue Loom Bakery this week, hosted by Old Hampshire Designs right across the street from us here. And I'm now joined by Sam Hagan, who's a designer from Floorcraft. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Abby.
Thanks for joining me. I'm excited to talk all about Floorcraft and your partnership with Old Hampshire Designs. But first of all, tell us about Floorcraft.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk about Floorcraft.
Good.
So we are a family-owned business out of Wilmot, New Hampshire. We've been in business for since 1992. And we service all sorts of customers. So commercial, residential, we do hardwood, tile, vinyl, carpet. We also do sanding and refinishing. So we're all over the map when it comes to everything flooring.
Amazing. Everything you need for local flooring, which is fantastic. And not only for residential, for commercial, but also your partnership with someone like Old Hampshire Design. Talk about that.
Yeah, so we work with local contractors for new constructions, renovations, even smaller remodels. So anything they need, they come to us. We've worked with Jay and Buildemers on many projects, so it's been good to work with them.
Fantastic. I think one of the coolest parts about Floorcraft is your showroom, because you can go in and actually look and feel and touch and compare other flooring, and that's what you get to help a homeowner or a business owner with.
Yeah, so someone comes in, whether they're a contractor or a customer, they'll come to us, they can touch and feel the samples, bring them home, see them in their space, and make sure it really works for them.
You're so right. Actually, I forgot now until you just reminded me, because the renovation process is such a whirlwind, but I remember taking home different flooring aspects and putting them up against paint, or how it would look in the room, because it's one thing to see it in this tiny square where you're like, what would this look like in my actual house? And you allow for that to happen.
Absolutely. So we definitely definitely recommend bringing samples home just because the lighting can change, or you already have paint on the walls, or you're still deciding those things. You really need to see the whole picture.
Of course.
And bringing samples home definitely helps with that.
Yes, absolutely. That makes a ton of sense. I used Floorcraft when we renovated our house, and I have to say that to be able to, not only were you guys so efficient, but to really get a sense of like, oh yeah, this doesn't really work, but you were able to, from a design standpoint, be able to give some feedback on this would really work, or this is a high traffic area, you need something a little bit more durable.
Right. Well, we're familiar with the showroom, and if people haven't renovated before and flooring is totally new to them, we want to be that expert advice that they can go to and seek out information, educational, everything you need. So.
Talk about some of your experience and some of your colleagues' experience with designing and in this industry.
Yeah, so I've been with Floorcraft for about 5 years now.
Wow, good
and
for you.
So I've done everything from going on site. I've installed my fair share of tile.
Cool, good for you.
So it's really hands-on. It's good to have that experience and to see different homes, different styles, meet with people and how they use their spaces. So it's really important to us to make sure that everyone's experience is individual and that they're getting exactly what they need.
Talk about Floorcraft and your employees. You pride yourself in all being local.
Yeah, so all of our installers are local. All of our designers are local. So we really do enjoy working with the communities because they're people that we see every day, whether we're going out to restaurants. So we know everyone in the community, and working with them is a pleasure. And we're always looking for installers, designers.
Good to know, yes.
We're always interested in meeting new people. Internships are always big for us. So
that's always good to know.
Yeah.
Interns are fantastic. This is how I started on YCN, my internship. And from a commercial side of it, I think people should remember that Floorcraft is not just for residential.
Right.
Talk about the commercial side of it.
Yeah, so projects in local hospitals, colleges, we've done some things there.
Wow.
Vinyl is huge in that industry just because it's really easy to clean. It's cost effective, which is nice, especially when you're working with larger spaces.
Sure, makes sense.
So we do a lot with commercial as well.
And if people want to learn more about Floorcraft and come visit you, how can they do so?
Yeah, so you can always check out our showroom. We're open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Saturdays we're open from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Appointments are recommended but not required.
Okay.
And you can always give us a call and check us out online.
Fabulous. I want to thank Old Hampshire Designs for presenting your Yankee Chronicle these past 2 weeks. Old Hampshire Designs is committed to quality craftsmanship, excellent customer service, and is a leader in green building practices and energy-efficient design. Next week, we'll present a Yankee Chronicle special that focuses on a family business, the Appleseed Restaurant, Sunapee Cruises, and the Fenton's Landing. This week, our Game of the Week will have a football game featuring number 3 Brady visiting number 2 Newport in tournament action. It will play Sundays and Mondays at noon and 7 p.m. on NCTV 8, TDS channels 13 and 1013, Roku, Apple TV, and for those that don't have cable, at ycnnow.com website that now carries all of our programming on demand. Join us again in 2 weeks as your Yankee Chronicle replays the 75th anniversary special on MJ Harrington Jewelers. I'm Abby Peel. Enjoy the little bit of summer we have left.
This program is supported by H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Their full-service model offers oil delivery, propane, motor fuels with design, installation, service, and maintenance of all types of oil, gas, and alternative energy systems, as well as air conditioning, water conditioning systems, and their highly trained and friendly staff will assist you throughout the process of buying, installing, and servicing a full line of energy products. H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire since 1997, with roots going back much further as the country press, AccuMail, and the home of the Kearsarge shopper. Echo Communications. Main Street Bookends of Warner. For books, toys, games, cards, gifts, and a gallery of local art. Main Street Bookends of Warner. The Innertown Record, your weekly hometown community newspaper covering the Kearsarge Sunapee Sunshine region of New Hampshire, the Innertown Record.